Attacks targeting Jews on the rise in New York as Mayor Bill de Blasio defends a new law that frees hate crime suspects without bail.
This is exactly the same system that has existed for years and years. And the only reason they're held in is they don't have enough money to make bail. That is not helping anyone. We're not going to jail our way out of the problem. We need tough consequences.
Here to weigh in is New York State Assemblywoman and GOP congressional candidate Nicole Malliotakis. So tell us, Nicole, what do you think this new legislation is going to do, and how is it going to affect your constituents?
You know, it was a dangerous law that was passed in the middle of the night by Governor Cuomo in the state legislature, and basically it makes a whole slew of crimes, whether in some cases hate crimes, coercion, menacing, stalking, aggravated assault, aggravated harassment, assault of a child. All crimes that will go no bail beginning January. But what's really disturbing about this law, in addition to those crimes that are eligible, is the fact that they don't consider someone's criminal history. Person can have 24 prior arrests, as we saw with the police officer that was punched in Brooklyn. The guy had 24 prior arrests, released back onto the street with no bail. By the way, that judge was appointed by Bill de Blasio. And in addition to that, you see incidents like an illegal immigrant in Rockland County on Christmas Eve who was driving illegally. He was driving unlicensed. He hit a woman. She died. And they caught him. He confessed. He left the scene, by the way. They caught him. He confessed. And they released him with no bail. So this is what's happening. In addition, you saw the anti-Semitic attacks of 3 women in Brooklyn as well. The woman was released. And as you know, she committed another crime. But what's really concerning is, look, dangerousness is not being considered. Someone's criminal history is not being considered. There's no requirement that they send somebody for mental health evaluation if they have a history.
Doesn't it take away the discretion of a judge, too, to ultimately, you know, in some cases say, well, clearly there's a public threat here. I'm gonna you know, demand something more.
Exactly. I mean, that is really what should be happening here. I've actually listed the crimes, and I have a petition on my website, NicoleForNY.com, to try to stop this from taking effect. Look, we're going back to Albany in about a week, and people need to call the governor. They need to call their state legislators. Look, I understand people need to have their constitutionally protected right to a speedy trial. This law doesn't address that. This law does nothing to address it, and now Mayor is saying, let's give them Mets tickets to ensure that they return to court. It's an absolute joke, and it's putting public safety at risk. So people need to go, please sign my petition. We have 10,000 people already that have signed at NicoleForNY.com.
So this could be, so if people do call and make a big stink of it right now, they can do something to stop this from going into effect.
Well, look, law enforcement, every law enforcement union in the state, you have the District Attorneys Association of New York, district attorneys of both Republicans and Democrats. You have now, after these anti-Semitic attacks and knowing that hate crimes are going to be eligible now for no bail, the Jewish community is being very vocal. We need every resident in New York State, those who have family in New York State, those who want to visit New York State and be safe in the future, need to call New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo's office today and tell him to stop this bail law. Let's address the issue of giving everyone a constitutionally protected right to a speedy trial, but let's not have a blanket no bail policy.
And you bring up a good point. A lot of people come here as tourists. They don't like these kind of crime rises and no consequences.
Nicole, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Good point.